All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, agenda. Yeah, we'll get you one. Sorry. Good afternoon. I just want to announce it is 6 p.m. We like to start on time. We do have some students that are running late, so we're gonna give them about 5 minutes. Make sure you have an agenda if you haven't gotten one yet. We'll pass those out to you, and then we'll start around 6:05 p.m. So if that's good for everybody. And if y'all would like to come sit up a little closer to the front, feel free to. If you want to stay in the same seat, that's fine as well. We do have some BISD school board members, principals from the school district. So we'll acknowledge you guys, but we'll start at 6:05.
Hi everyone. I'm Ashlyn Papillon. I'm from Beaumont United High School, and I'm the clerk. And I'm going to say the prayer. So, our Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us all here today to be able to congregate and talk about our different ideas and allowing us to have traveling grace, just allowing everyone to be together today and see each other, and for everyone to make it here safely. Choose now, pray. Amen.
I'm Catherine Barboza. I'm from Beaumont Early College High School. I'm over economic development, and I'm saying everyone could please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now we're gonna have a roll call to see who's all here. Oh, everybody can just say their name and their school that they're from. I'm Ashlyn Papillon. I'm from Beaumont United. Brooklyn Papillon, Beaumont United.
Yash Patel, Early College High School.
Catherine Barboza, Early College High School.
Naya Jackson, Beaumont United High School.
Sam Marchand, Westbrook High School.
Consuelo De Luna, Beaumont United.
Miriam Mornia, Early College High School.
Isaac Torres, Early College High School.
Jonathan Hernandez, Early College High School.
Saad Mohammed, Harmony Science Academy.
Thank you for the roll call. We're going to move into the presentation and recognition portion of the meeting. And Mr. Haynes.
Right. So I'm facing you guys, but it's kind of awkward because I have people behind me. But I hope you guys can hear me. We went to a conference. When was this? In February, right? This first weekend of February, and so we were able to dialogue with other cities that have youth councils, and some of the things they talked about was having like a listening session for the youth. And one of those things that came from it was just developing a document like this. And for the general public, this is a legislative agenda for youth. And so these are topics that are important to the youth, categories like empower youth, public safety, parks and recreation development. And so their goal is to identify categories within this document that we can ultimately present to our City of Beaumont Council, maybe our county offices, so they understand the importance or at least the priority for youth within these particular subject matters. I drafted up this document along with Ms. Stephanie. She's been helping with this document, and we sent this over to the Youth Council, and so they have kind of looked through it a little bit. And so this presentation is just kind of them giving their perspective, and so we'll still be working on this. This is an ongoing document, but essentially the idea is that we would have a legislative agenda. Like most cities, when you go to the capital or school districts, you have some type of representation, you have bigger groups. This idea is that next year around this time, the youth could take a group with a document like this and present it to legislators. Even, at the local level, it's more important because you're developing parks, you're developing things in your community and having the youth input. And so that's the purpose of this document. So that's just giving you guys the backstory on the presentation that you'll be hearing today, and then we'll get more feedback while we're having this discussion. So you can start. Yeah.
Evening, everybody. So, as we voted on last meeting, I compiled a list of everything that we have gone over so far and goals that we've set and put it together into, I think, is a somewhat somewhat well-edited slideshow of it. I told Miles earlier I'm not the best wizard with Google Slides, but so this is a accurate summation of everything that we've prioritized that we want done in the city for us to send to the city council so they can have the youth input that the organization was chartered to provide. So we can go to the next slide, please. All right, so first in the area of public safety, so the councils, we have all voted in favor of recommending the following bullet pointed actions to increase public safety. On the bird scooters, we decided that mandatory ID for their use and more strenuous enforcement of existing regulations is called for, given the level of traffic violations and safety hazards caused by the bird scooters at this point, that it's only prudent to have the police department more strictly enforce the way that the rules are now, and to additionally mandate a valid government-provided ID for everyone that uses them to ensure that they are over the age of 18, as is called for the rules of bird scooters. We then decided that it would be prudent to increase the budget for the Beaumont Police Department after we heard the presentation several weeks ago from the representative from the BPD to combat the rates of violent crime in Beaumont. And then last week we heard about the severe proliferation of fentanyl. It's a fairly new drug, but we've heard about the danger that it poses specifically to youth. So we voted in support of initiating city-sponsored initiatives to reduce the proliferation of fentanyl, specifically among youth, as this poses a singular danger to us. And then the city working to alleviate homelessness, specifically among youth. We heard from the Southeast Texas Homeless Coalition representative about how dangerous that is, so we thought it was good to include this on the agenda. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, is there anything else that y'all would like to add in the area of public safety or anything like that you don't see here that you want? All right, we'll go to the...
I know we I know we talked about police, and their like shortages. So could you add like, what did we say?
So the first meeting we had in January, the January group, I was part of that, presented on the status of police in Beaumont, right? So the ending conclusion of that presentation was that an increased budget for the police department and greater city and local cooperation was needed in the area of crime. So that was the conclusion of that. But if you have any other questions.
I thought we also added like police presentations at school to like offer jobs to students
Exactly,
wanting
yes.
to join the
So
force.
police presentations at the schools, that's more of a two-pronged approach, but it's definitely viable because that we'd have to cooperate with both the city and the school district to do that. But that's a very, very good idea. Thank you for that. I'll add that. Any other questions? We'll go to the next slide. Okay, economic development. So we voted to recommend these measures to increase economic opportunity for youth, access to scholarships to combat the astronomical cost of attending college or other higher education. So just like show of hands, who knows where they're going to college right now? So how many of you know how much you have to pay for it? So, and of y'all, are we of the opinion that that's too much? Vastly too much, correct? I can tell you from personal experience, I had a friend of mine that applied to the University of Tokyo, and the University of Tokyo for 4 years cost $7,000 for all 4 years. So, given that the United States is by far the world's leader in student debt and like overall cost of attending college, I think it's a definite positive if the city could help the youth in Beaumont meet opportunities to help pay for college, as it is becoming prohibitively expensive. Any questions on that? Okay, and then we talked about tax incentives for small local businesses that employ teenagers. I know that many of us work, like we have jobs, and that it would be better if more youth-oriented jobs were provided by small businesses, and those were made to be sustainable by the city providing a favorable tax environment for them. Any questions? And then, so we decided that city departments and agencies offering internships for students in Beaumont, we decided that would be a good idea. I know that that's definitely something that I would have done earlier in high school if the opportunity had been there. So if anybody has anything they'd like to add. And then, so diversification of the economy away from reliance on petrochemicals. So it's not really a secret that the way the wind is blowing on the planet is that petrochemicals are on their way out within the next 50 years. And per our life expectancy, we will be here longer than 50 years. So therefore, it makes tangible sense for us to inherit a job market that in Beaumont that is reliant on petrochemicals or related manufacturing. Athletic areas, so, not just the kind of rundown, play sets with a basketball court and places to play tennis here and there. Something large, akin to the soccer fields off Major in Delaware. So we thought that would be beneficial. Any questions? Next slide, please. Okay, education. So we voted in favor of these two ideas. So further cooperation with Lamar and other partner institutions to increase the accessibility of higher education and retention of local youth. So this is kind of related to the student debt point I made earlier. It is beneficial to the future of Beaumont for us to A, be able to go to college, and B, for us to do it here, right? So how many of y'all are going to college in Beaumont that you know? like at Lamar or like LIT or something? 3, 4. So there are 17 of us. So 4 of 17 of us will be here next year. So if there could be action to raise that number, the city will benefit. It's transitive logic. So any questions on that? Okay, so and then also last meeting we decided increased partnership with BISD to provide advice and oversight to secure the future of youth in Beaumont. So we know that the city council's initiated a series of combined meetings with the school board. They had one back in, I think it was November? November was the joint meeting? I think it was. Yes, I'm pretty sure it was November. That was extraordinarily productive, and more of those and cooperation of that sort would be highly beneficial. Next slide. Any questions? There's a picture there at one point. Anything anybody would like to add? Suggestions? So the final idea of this is so like this blue paper that we all received, right, with a list of priorities of ours, right? That PowerPoint will become this, right? We will edit this slightly to accommodate the goals outlined there, right? So if there's anything that you guys would like to see the city council on behalf of us, speak now or forever hold your peace. We value any and all input. Well, all right, y'all, appreciate it. Thank you for your time. All right, so now we're going to move to the public comment section of the meeting. Speak on any of the agenda items 1 to 10 for 3 minutes. So if anyone in the audience would like to say something, now is your time.
All right, at this, I want the representatives from BISD and to come up and introduce yourself, so at least the public knows that we had individuals from different schools here. I see principals in the back, so that's exciting to have here. So if you'll come up, share a couple words, and introduce yourself. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Hey, good evening. My name's Melanie Ferris. I'm the principal at Beaumont Early College High School. I walked in and I turned to Mr. Phillips. I was like, wait, where are the adults? Like, I thought this was, so I'm impressed. You guys are running through this and engaging in this activity. And so that's something you should all be very proud of.
Tisha Smith, Westbrook High School, Director of Student Activities. I get to see most of y'all once a month, so it's good to see y'all in this setting.
Nick Phillips, Principal at Westbrook High School, and it's great to see y'all taking an active role in this activity, and appreciate y'all coming out and partaking. So keep up the great work.
So about your other position?
My other position?
Do they know that?
I don't know. Some of you may or may not know. In my free time, I volunteer as a school board trustee in Nederland ISD. This is my wrapping up year 13 as a school board trustee in Nederland ISD. So once a month sit on that side of the table down there, and also sit on the TASB Board of Directors for the Texas Association of School Boards, representing the 33 school districts in Region 5. So it's representing you not only in Beaumont ISD at the state level as well. So keep up the good work. So.
Hey guys, I'm Stacy Lewis Jr. I'm BISD trustee. Also serve as your board secretary. I'm amazed and proud of all you guys, especially you guys representing Beaumont ISD. Y'all look great. Continue to do your things you're doing, and I look forward to hearing from you guys in the next board meeting.
All right, thank you for that. We're going to move to agenda item number 1 to discuss Beaumont beautification project. So we discussed that the meeting before last, having a beautification day. We thought it would consist of a trash pickup at least. Any other ideas on that before we get started on a more concrete plan? What do y'all think?
We were discussing about doing it during spring break. So, because that's when everybody's mostly free, we could start off with a trash pickup. Then maybe the next day, could have painting around Beaumont.
Definitely. Thank you. Any other ideas from y'all or things you'd like to see happen? All right. So, on to item number 2, discussing mental health challenges.
I'll speak on that a little bit. Just to give you guys a little backdrop, cities go to Austin. It's called Golden Triangle Days at the Capitol. Each city or group has their day to go to the Capitol. And we've been discussing different legislative pieces that we would say is priority for the city of Beaumont and other groups. But a discussion around mental health, obviously you guys talked about homelessness and other things that affect the youth. But I did want to open up that dialogue to understand what are those challenges from a mental health standpoint, whether it's you, not necessarily you, but I would say in your school, among your peer group, kind of bringing those, I wouldn't say issues, but ideas or barriers or challenges. Obviously, post-COVID, your educational system is a little bit different, but that's been a big discussion among legislators and policymakers. And so I did want to open up the opportunity for you guys to have that discussion publicly. So it's up to you guys to discuss or not.
Okay, sorry to the principals in the back, but honestly, I feel like a lot of mental health challenges start off at school, like all the pressure and like all the, how do I say this? Yeah, like all the work that gets stacked on top of us. And then sometimes we don't have stuff like, or time for our outside lives. So it gets kind of stressful, if that makes sense. Like we're stuck doing a lot of work instead of being able to go out. You know?
Are we speaking on like what mental health issues the youth has? I think one of the biggest ones is feeling pressured, especially in high school, to be able to fit in or be a certain way so that you'll feel accepted. And I feel like that's also very challenging and can be very hard on some people.
Coming as a first generation Hispanic family member to attend college, I have been put a lot of pressure, anxiety, especially like due to also taking college classes, high school classes, and always maintaining like perfect scores. And although that schools always want to push that, oh, we're here for you, and that they're there for you, but like they don't push hard enough, in my opinion. There is a lot of friends that I know that do suffer from a lot of mental illnesses, and schools are sometimes a safe place, but not always, because they don't feel that they can talk to teachers or have like somewhere to go at school. And I did do a little presentation. I forgot the organization that does it, but what they do is it's a program where all the teachers take, and it's like over a whole year course, and that's how they become more aware of student feelings, science, and I'll try to research more about it and how we could try to get those started at some schools, because it does start from middle school to high school, and I feel like that will benefit many students at each school.
Okay, so like Jonathan said, it does like all start in middle school. So I don't know if you know, but at Peach MacArthur, whenever we took a tour there last year, they have this room. So basically, I think that mental health is the biggest one for our age group is depression. So I think that in our schools, we could all like Peach MacArthur, they have a room and they can just go in there and they can take a break from work. They have like beanbag chairs, they have like little books, they have things. It's just like a comfort room. So I think that our schools, our high schools, we can have a room like that and at our school where students can go and they can just like take a break from school, or they can just like relax, or they could have like also like maybe counselors in there if they need to feel they need to talk about depression or other things that's going on. We can just try to add like a room to talk about things like that to try to decrease mental health issues and depression.
So I think one of the biggest issues regarding mental health is awareness. I know that a lot of students don't understand that there are resources and outlets for that. I know at Westbrook, we have an interclub council club sort of meetings, and I don't know if other schools have that or not. But basically what we do is we come together from different clubs and we discuss the most challenging issues that students face. One of them is mental health. So I think it stems from we have to go to each respective schools, right? Talk to our other club members, make sure we get a discussion going, and then have some sort of event or some sort of day. For example, you could do like a mental health day where, I've heard teachers tell me personally that they need a mental health day from school, right? And I'm sure students do as well. So you could have something like that. We can do possibly an event where we talk to students about the challenges of mental health, what resources are offered at their specific school. Counselors can come out and talk about that. So I think those are two different ideas that we could possibly pursue.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of the people that I've talked to about this issue are of the same opinion that school has fundamentally changed in the last couple of years from being geared towards actual learning to now being more like a game. Like the P in GPA is points, and whoever has the most of them wins. And that we don't measure success anymore by actual achievement capability, but more like where we go to college and who makes the most money after we graduate, So the focus has shifted away from the academic and mental wellness of us to the ability of us to achieve a certain score on a STAR test or get into a certain college or have the highest GPA, not at all how we feel or what we're actually capable of where it matters. So I think that definitely contributes to the deleterious effect on mental health in the schools now.
I agree with you, Sam. I feel that the schools need to find a way to recognize everybody's achievement because, yeah, we have a valedictorian, but another student, their GPA just went up, but y'all only recognizing the valedictorian. Can we find a way to recognize everyone else for their all accomplishments? And then, I know I'm steering away from mental health, but it kind of ties into it because now you're feeling lower than your valedictorian because, well, my rank just went up, but I'm the valedictorian,
Anybody else?
I want to steer back into the mental health thing. I think BISD has this, the de-escalation space, but I haven't seen a lot of people using it at all. Like students don't, at least at my school, I haven't seen anyone use the spaces. Teachers have it set up. It's like a table with little stuff to do just in case if you feel overwhelmed in class, you can go and you can do something for like 10 minutes and then get back to work. I don't really think it's working for most students. I haven't seen anyone use it. The counselor tells me that some people go in there and they use hers, but as for teachers in their classrooms, students just stay at their desk.
All right, well, thank you all for that. We're going to move on to item number 3, following up on committee assignments. So we had decided on a group of us to manage the creation of the beautification day that we talked about earlier. So if y'all could raise your hands, indicate that you're on the committee.
I forgot his name.
So if y'all could get together and like we talked about paint, trash pickup, chalk art, and kind of form that into like a plan with a flyer or some kind of advertisement, that'd be great.
I started a group me. Y'all are free to discuss ideas in there, just in case.
Great. Any other? Thank you. Okay, so are there any other committees to? I don't know.
Did y'all discuss communication? Did you have a committee? Did you have a group of people working with you? I remember that was discussed lightly at one of the previous meetings, and I think homelessness, one of the two. So I just want y'all to follow up on some of the things that people have come and spoken to you guys about different topics, and I think you guys had talked about initiatives that you want to do. So that particular action item is just to make sure, you know, where you guys are in the process, what's the next step. If y'all need to follow up on the group me conversations, I know you guys have a busy schedule, but just to make sure we follow up on those things before it gets too far out of time. So if y'all have any other committees or commitments that you guys kind of made within this group, that's what this agenda item is for.
We do have other committees, and I have the names of everybody who's on the committees. We have the scholarship committee, that's Brooklyn, Consolito, Yash, me, and Isaac. And then they have the beautification day, Miriam, Zane, Gion, and Saad. And I think those are only committees that we have.
And you guys on the committee, y'all can just, whatever y'all come up with as far as an idea, let's just shoot it to me, and then I can kind of work with you guys on that. But I don't know where you guys are in the process with the committee meetings and things like that. But at least have 1 or 2 meetings within your committee before you reach back out to me.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move to item number 4, discussing the National League of Cities Conference in Washington. Sir?
Yeah, so I think we had 5 students go to the Dallas conference, which was the Texas Youth Advisory Summit. So all those students came from Beaumont Early College. From a budgetary standpoint, it would be really hard to take everybody to Washington, D.C., but I think we originally had the conversation. It was the individuals who have been to a conference. You would just choose one conference, and we already had 5 students go to one conference. The whole conversation now, and I can't reveal all the details, but my goal is to get you guys funded for the trip through working with community partners. That's the best way to say it. So I'll follow up with you guys before the week is out, if not later part of next week. So I would like to take everybody if there's a possibility. The logistics on that, so is you have to have a chaperone, or we would have to designate a chaperone. 1 chaperone per 2 to 3 students seems to be about the best, and we're working on that. So I'm kind of meeting with reaching out to some of you guys' schools to see about some different things, but I can't go into detail because I don't have all the information, so I don't want to just kind of give you information I don't have. But 2 questions I do have is, 1, when is y'all spring break? I think you guys have different spring breaks, and let's answer that first question, then we'll come to the second one. So if you could just, one representative from your school, tell me that date, if that's all the same date.
Beaumont United starts on March 13th.
Okay.
Through the 17th.
March.
Yeah, that's all. Yes.
Okay, everybody's on the same. Okay, Harmony, where you at?
Your Harmony is also 13th through the 17th.
Okay. All right. Legacy and Kelly. So Legacy did email me. He can't make it because he had a prior commitment. I think they're playing a state basketball game. That's what my understanding. So RJ, he's playing the basketball game, and I think Zane from Kelly wasn't feeling well, so he couldn't make it. So they both notified me prior to the meeting. But everybody else's schedule looks like pretty much the same week. I'm not understanding. Okay. Who has a scheduling conflict and can't make it? So the conference is March the 26th, or it should be around, let's see. It's about the the dates would be the 26th through the 29th, I would think. So who has a scheduling conflict? I think that's the next question I have.
Just to say, Legacy also has their spring break as ours.
Same?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'll double check with Kelly to verify that they have the same. And that'll help us with one of the other agenda items as far as discussing when's the next meeting date and time. So if everybody has a spring break on that week, we know not to schedule anything for that week. So if you guys can answer the other question, do y'all have any schedule conflicts? So I'll just go around. Orlette, do y'all have any schedule conflicts with that date? Catherine, Josh, Brooklyn.
So does Legacy.
Legacy. Okay. Kelly. Okay. Yeah, so everybody's on the same spring break. Okay. So no schedule conflicts with those dates? Okay. Perfect. Okay. I'll discuss that one and then we'll go to it. So I'll take that information. I still have to get some numbers and finding out expense. We have the expenses broken down as far as flights, registration, food, room rates. We have all that. That's already done. The next step on our side is to make sure to see if community partners can pay for students to go. What that does is it helps our budget, so we don't drain our budget and we don't have it. We can't do anything else with those funds. So we do have some funds, but the goal is to be a wise manager. So we do have community partners. It seems like that is moving in a positive direction, but I can't speak to the details on yay and nay on that. But I will follow up before our next meeting on the next steps, and then everybody can know. Basically, it's going to dictate how many students we can take, and then we'll determine the students who haven't went to a conference as priority, and then we'll work our way back. So I think that's obviously understandable with most of the group. So we can move on to the next agenda item. Or any questions about that conference? It is a 2-day conference. I think the conference is a Sunday and a Monday. Some groups are going up specifically for that Sunday, that Monday, and then they fly back. So essentially you only miss 1 day of school. It'll be pretty tough as far as logistics getting back. Some groups go up there and they stay a couple days and they go see, the White House, and they take different trips. We can't guarantee that we'll have an extended stay, but those 2 days are specifically for that conference. So you'll know all the details on that. We have the price breakdown. I'm not asking you guys to come out of pocket per se. I may ask you to cover your own meal at a certain time, but that may be one meal. That would be something that you would normally do if you went to a conference. But as far as registration and things like that, I'm not asking you guys to move in that direction. That's not our goal, put it that way. So I don't want to put that pressure on you guys. So that concludes my session or my conversation on that particular item. Any other questions or anything? Question. Okay, that's it.
Okay, so moving to item number 5 to discuss speaking at the next BISD school board meeting.
Okay. So I think this conversation came from junior leadership. I think some students that came here and they were just kind of talking about their perspective within the schools, and that'll lead to my work session later on our objectives and goals. But I think Alex and I had a conversation. I think he had wanted to go to a school board meeting and kind of speak, but I want us to kind of be on the same page when we do that. So the initial conversation with any school board, I think one, that should come through me first, and then secondly, we should involve you guys as additional testimony or your experience from this youth council. We're in the process of building rapport and a relationship with BISD, and so we want to make sure that we're just taking the necessary steps moving forward. So if we're communicating with the school board, I could serve as your representative to go do that initially. It's a little bit different for the city because we don't have the youth component here, so that's why we have the youth council. But Alex, do you want to speak to a little bit on why you wanted to kind of approach the school board, and then from there we could just kind of have that conversation here, but letting everybody know if we are to go to the school board, all communication will come through me and I'll communicate on your behalf. Pretty much just telling about the program. And so any objections to that, or anybody say, no, I want to speak, I want to go, I want to have my voice heard or something like that? No? Y'all trust me to kind of be your voice to kind of go speak on your behalf? And so our goal in that would just be, you got a question? Yeah.
I wouldn't mind you speaking, but like we could all still come, right?
Yes, you
so
could.
it would
Definitely
be more
attend.
meaningful.
Yeah, I think attendance is good because you want to show, one, representatives in the community that this is a viable program. You guys are interested, you're engaged, and something like attending would be huge. But when you're speaking, as our initial conversation, I think, anything that I'm speaking about, I'll talk to you guys about it first. And so we'll have that conversation in-house, which is one of our next, later on in the agenda is one of our other items. But this will be more of an executive session type conversation. So we'll talk about in-house, what are our thoughts. I'll come together with a unified message that one is supported by the council and the city manager. So if you guys don't have any objections to that, I'll be your representative. But did you want to add to that, or think that's good? Okay. So essentially, we do plan on going to approach the school board in the future. We do have some joint initiatives we're working with on the district side. So I think it'll just be a healthy relationship to manage. I think everybody's excited. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page when communicating. When we do it in the city, just to give you guys a little policy, how it goes, we go through a media training. So anything that we go out and speak on regarding to the media, that has to be vetted before we go speak publicly. So this is just kind of that other approach. And so since you guys don't have any issues with that, we'll just move forward and we'll schedule a day to attend the school board meeting and different things like that. So if y'all want to add something to it, I'll definitely give you what my presentation will be beforehand, and you can kind of poke holes through it to say, hey, could you add this? Could you highlight this? Anybody else want to add anything to that? Okay, that's good then. We'll move to the next item.
Okay, so to item number 6, discussing youth council bonding activity / mixer.
So at the conference we went to in Dallas, a lot of the other councils, they had some sort of bonding activity or mixer that they all did. A common one they did was like an escape room. So I was thinking we could do an escape room to kind of bond and get to know each other.
And something like that could be funded through our budget. So just so you guys are clear, that's something that we would obviously take care of.
Do y'all have any other suggestions for something y'all would like to do that's fun?
Main event.
So tickets to main event, okay.
When we go to the escape room, can y'all take us out to eat too?
Food will be provided. I think that's a good idea. I just want to, so for the audience, when we go to conferences, it's important to bring back things that, one, work for us in this community and improve the relationships here and improve our process. So like y'all said, there are other groups who were doing different activities. The escape room was one, and they did so many different things. So some of these groups had good team chemistry. They work well together. And in government, and when you're doing stuff like this, the more trust you have within a group, the faster things move, the much easier it is, and it's more fun that way. So you guys obviously were thrown together, and you guys are doing great. But, building that chemistry, it takes time. It takes working together. You learn your strength. You learn when to use your strength. You learn when not to use it. So I think whatever you guys, maybe y'all want to set up in y'all group meet, decide 3 activities and pick one of the activities and then pick a date, and then we'll start working from there. And then once y'all get a date, we can kind of, plan that. And I think that'll be, if that's something that y'all decide what y'all want to do, I'll just kind of make sure it's paid for. Remember, not too much. There is a market rate on this. I think main event and the escape room are 2 good options. I mean, y'all can come up with another one, but obviously within a reasonable budget. So, anybody else want to add to that?
Moving to item number 7, so to discuss and approve the youth legislative document. So that's for us to go and amend this, right, into what the PowerPoint was. So again, if any of y'all have any suggestions or any issues or viewpoints that you'd like to be voiced in the Mark II of the blue document here, now is the opportunity for that. So just to kind of outline what's in the in what you were given, these are all things that we have done or will do, whereas the PowerPoint is more things that we want the city to do for us. Does that make sense? So like, these are all actions that we have taken, right? So the PowerPoint moves more in a direction of advising the city council on things that we would like to see done. Does that make sense? So like, if there's any questions on that, happy to answer.
Just to clarify, everything on the PowerPoint would be moved or added to this?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions on this?
Yeah, I think this is something that you probably want to take back to your schools as well, so other students could see it. Because in the future, you guys are basically giving a template to the city of Beaumont. So every time they, decide to have a negotiation with bird scooters, the youth are saying you want a mandatory ID. And so you want to put things in place. It happens, you begin to change a policy. And if you change the policy at the local level, it's called an ordinance, and that's a local law. So you this would be more so a policy recommendation, put it that way. So I think this is a good step for you guys to learn, and you can start attending the council if you see things that don't check your legislative, packet here, based on what you guys are talking about. You can voice your perspective, and you have a group of people supporting you. So this, this document here has a little bit more weight to it. When you at the youth council, you guys are representing other schools, and so when I'm talking to you guys, I think that I'm talking to all. How many students are in the BISD? 17,000 up north of that number. So I'm talking to 17,000 students. That's my mindset, or probably more because you have other schools included. But you guys represent those students becoming leaders from that group of people, and then you're putting this document together. So the city council is going to look at this as if they're talking to all of the youth included in the school district. And so that's how they're going to see it once it's finalized. And so make sure that if you have any things that you want to add to it, do so before the deadline.
All right, so it's going to go to Isaac to do the vote on that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody in opposition? Okay. The rule would be carried.
All right, so we're going to move to the work session, so goals and objectives of a youth council, feedback and evaluation.
All right. So I think this is just to have a public conversation for you guys and for myself to help us continue to improve the program and to make sure that the public is informed on our process. 'Cause I think if we have this every so often, you end up having a really good program, and it's good to get positive feedback or, constructive criticism. So either way, it works best for us. What I wanted to kind of list out is some of the general rules on some of our intention on when we decided to be a youth council, what I ideally wanted that to look like, and then so the public can understand, because some of these they may be their first time attending. So I look at you guys as a real city council. You're just a youth version of that city council. On a Tuesday at 1:30, council meets. They have a mayor, you have a city manager, you have a city attorney, you have department heads, and everybody adds to the agenda, but not everybody votes. And so everybody plays an important role. It's a huge partnership if you do it correctly. And so my question to you guys is, how are you liking it so far? And then we can kind of have a little dialogue back and forth. So this is for me to listen to you guys to make sure that we're not just having meetings and meetings and meetings. And obviously we're new. We have a lot of things we can improve on, but I want to hear more from you guys. So, and if you don't normally speak, I want to hear from you more, because some of you guys speak more than others. So if you don't normally speak, I kind of want to get your feedback. But this is just to, one, so the public can understand that great programs improve when we work together, not when we hide from constructive criticism. So that's what this is. So I'll just open it up to you guys. First question is, how do you think it's going? What you like about it? Something we can work on to improve.
Well, I think that we're doing good because, we were the first group there that we had nothing to go off of. We just had to come together as one. So I think for what we're doing good. I mean, we do put out a lot of problems, but we don't. I do a lot of solutions, but we're working on it. We're working on it. Yes, and but I think we're doing good. And what was the other one? You had one more. I was going to say.
What do you like about it? What do you want to see changed?
Never mind. I said it.
My basic questions.
Like she said, we're doing a really good job. Congrats, everybody. I think we do need to improve on communication and actually speaking to each other about our ideas and coming together. More on that.
Okay.
Just teamwork wise, because we can talk and discuss it here, but when we leave here, it's we don't talk until the week of another meeting.
I also really like how much support y'all shown us, because a lot of organizations or stuff that we've been in, they start it but they don't really finish it, or they'll not really take in our what we try to tell them. And I've noticed, I'm pretty sure we all have noticed, that y'all actually listen to what we have to say and do something about it.
Like Isaac said, thank you for the support, and 'cause we are trying to see a change here in Beaumont and how to make it better. And something I would like to see is we did discuss having our meetings around Beaumont, in different locations, and so far we've been having them here.
Yeah.
And to see if we can schedule them in different locations in Beaumont, and and to have a translator at the meetings.
I would say that I kind of tie into what Miriam said and what Arlette said. I feel like our communication could be a lot better, which I also feel comes from the lack of connection we all have, which is where the bonding thing would help. We know each other from here, but most of the time I would not talk to a majority of y'all outside of school or outside of here if I were to see you. Not anything against y'all, just that we're not super close like that. So I feel like bonding would help with our communication a lot, which would also, I feel help us keep in our positions. But also I feel understanding our roles and acting in our roles is more of a personal thing. You need to take the initiative to learn your role and to own that position. So I feel like that also falls under how well we communicate with each other. Just that some people are more driven to just take charge. And I feel like we all need to get to know each other better, to feel comfortable to speak, to own into your own role. So I feel like that's something we can all work on as a group.
I feel as though we are doing good as a youth council. I feel like at the beginning when we were trying to grow this council that we were so eager to get the youth voice out, get the problems that the youth wanted done. And I feel like we're accomplishing those step by step.
I feel like we're doing good, and back to like us kind of not knowing what we're supposed to do. Like, I feel like if we could just have a piece of paper that like has our rules, like what our position does and everything, that would be a little better. So like, cause I'm scared that I'm gonna do someone else's job, and they'll get mad at me.
Okay. And I'm taking notes on all this. I'm not writing it, but we're taking notes on all this.
On a positive note, I did realize that when we talked about the first meeting, we talked about getting stuff out that we are doing in Beaumont on other social media platforms. And I was scrolling through TikTok. I did see a TikTok about an ice cream shop in Beaumont that nobody knew about. I reposted it. Everybody was reposting it. Everybody's like, I didn't even know we had this. It's so nice. We're going to go this weekend. So I can't say we are kind of making a change.
I like how you guys put us in the professional standpoint. Like, we're not just in the crowd talking. We're actually up here in front of everybody, and like we're put in y'all's shoes so we can see and we can have the conversation and let the people know what we're talking about and what we have to say.
I know I already spoke, but I was just saying that I know it's not off topic. Well, it's on topic, but how we should have the meetings at different places, because you know how we talking about the youth speak out, like with Sam. Like, we're not gonna have anybody come to the chambers. They just don't want to come here. No.
Also, with like the flyers Alex makes is where we add the location. So I'm pretty sure like if they get to see the flyer, they'll like know where the meetings are at. And like the time.
I think that also is a good idea if we go to different places. I think it would also be a way to find different opportunities around Beaumont that maybe we don't know about. We could also maybe go to different places, like different job stuff that we don't know about, different careers here.
Here's a thought. That the junior leadership group, the year under us, why can't they come? I think that would be cool.
Oh, them attend this meeting?
I think that would be very good for them to, or like maybe like, I get that maybe they can't all come to one of the meetings immediately after school like we have them. So maybe hypothetically the next time they have an outing or like one of their future dates that they have, they could come, we could have one of these and they could watch it. Maybe that could be arranged. I think that'd be highly constructive and make them all apply to do this next year.
I do think we should have the meetings around Beaumont, because some youth don't have cars to drive all the way over here, or like if we have it in the North End, people from the North End can come to those meetings. They can walk there. The West End, they can walk there, but coming all the way over here, some people might not have rides, things that want to attend.
Also, you go ahead. Also, I feel like we could start to broadcast it on the news, because I know like a lot of older people watch the news and they're not really on technology or on social media. So I feel like if we broadcast it on the news, like maybe come to this meeting or maybe live stream a part of the meeting so they can see what we talk about, some more people start coming out.
Like Arlette said, since we are video streaming this, but like I mean in all the other locations where we would hold the meetings, we could live stream it, and to also show to the city of Beaumont that just because we're city doesn't mean like come here at this nice looking place, that we're willing to go around Beaumont to show that we're there for y'all, we support you, and like we don't care where it is, like this is Beaumont. So, yeah.
I like that idea, but I think we should have the meetings here but be able to visit other places and discuss these issues that we talk about at the meetings with them.
Yeah, I think having it here connotes a certain degree of, I don't want to say authority, but it gives us more standing than having it at miscellaneous locations all thrown around town. You know, that like there's a certain kind of, you could say like gravitas that comes with having it here as opposed to, you know, some random community center. So I think that, you know, like you said that people don't come here. Is that like they refuse to come here, or just like they don't know where it is, or like what, or like what's the deal
No,
with that?
being here is intimidating. They don't want to get up here and speak. But if we go to like a community park, like me, Consolito, Naya, Brooklyn, and Kelsey, we're in it's called Gift of Life Youth Council, and they meet at Rogers Park. It's not as intimidating. People can come. They have security watching the doors, so it's safe. But like more people will come there because it's not as intimidating as being in a room like this. And a lot of people know where Rogers Park is at. It's right there.
It's also closer to more homes, so more people, like they said, who aren't able to travel as easily through a vehicle can easily walk there as well, since it is closer to homes.
Also, to like get us like more known, I feel like we can invite councils from other places, like maybe Nederland or somewhere, and they can come sit and watch our meetings, so they can take it back to their place, or we can get their input on what they see could be a change.
I'm going on like a hunch here, but I think the reason that a lot of people do not come out to meetings like these is because it involves being involved within their community, and they rather much get off of work, go home, have dinner, you know, sleep, instead of having to come sit at a meeting and discuss these issues that they don't really care about most of the time. Though it might really affect them and benefit them in a way, they're kind of ignorant.
Yeah, I agree. I understand wanting to like move around the community, but in reality, I feel like moving to different locations won't change the attendance. I think that's something we're just going to have to deal with and work on as a group. And kind of like Sam mentioned, being here gives us almost a sense of like being professional. It's uniform. We're always here most of the time at the same times. And that's something we did talk about when we went to the Dallas conference. We talked about being uniform and how having set locations, logos, that's what builds a council. So I think we're in the beginning stages. Attendance will be low. It is a little out of the way from homes, but I feel like it would probably be the same amount of people that would come if we were to move to Rogers Park or Community Center. And it would confuse people if we're bouncing back and forth between locations.
Also, also, I feel like more people would come out if we put like a meaning behind the meetings. Like if we put, oh, we're going to talk about this, this, and this. Like a lot of, say like people that's in poverty, they'll be like, we're talking about housing and stuff like that, who can help, and they'll want to come out because they know that they'll benefit from something like this, or we're talking about something that involves them that would make them want to come out.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I feel like I agree on meeting in different places because we kind of just like agreed on City Hall, but we never tried to like meet like for instance like Rogers Park. We never tried to meet there to see like how the attendance would be or anything like that. We just kind of agreed on City Hall, and yeah, so that's my input on that.
Okay, so that could be another thing added to to our flyers. Maybe like highlight stuff that's gonna be on the agenda, like what you said, to get people interested in like what we're gonna talk about.
Okay.
And we're also just talking about what will happen. We don't know if we go to Rogers Park. It might be a better attendance rate. We just saying they're not gonna come just because. I mean, they might come and say Rogers Park. I know me. I'm not gonna come talk in front of my peers right here, but I'll go to Rogers Park and talk because I feel y'all just staring at me and judging. But if we at Rogers Park, y'all sitting down, kind of laid back type of way, I'll come talk and speak.
And also, if we could do like a meeting, like where maybe we take off from school one day and we go to different schools and we have them like in an auditorium and we hear what they have to say, because a lot of people can't use, like, they don't have transportation or they're scared to come up here. So maybe we go to their schools and where they feel more comfortable around their friends and they want to talk to us and tell us like what they want to see.
Yeah, I agree with Kelsey, but like Catherine was saying, yeah, we should probably it's more professional here, but like our goal is the youth. We need to go where we think the youth would be, and like Arlette said, and like I said at the past meeting, we need to have a meeting and then say like, oh, it's gonna be pizza here. So if you come, you can get food after practice. You can speak. Like, we're trying to cater to the youth. I mean, we need to be professional, but we're trying to cater to the youth. Hear the youth problems. The youth is gonna go. Let's just be honest. Where there's food, where it seems fun.
Yeah.
I definitely agree on going to different schools, because right now we're not really hearing from the youth. Like, we're not hearing what their issues are. I feel like we're just going off based off what all within our group things, and I feel like it'll be very beneficial hearing from their standpoint. I feel like they'd also feel more comfortable since we're in, like, technically in their homes, in their schools and stuff.
So you know how we do like a meeting every in a month. I feel like we don't always have to meet somewhere different. Like, we can still do City Hall, but like every once a month, like, we can meet somewhere different just to see like the balance of it.
Keeping it 2 meetings, but doing 1 meeting somewhere else.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, we can definitely have maybe an agenda item or some kind of voting item for the next meeting on that matter as to how to organize where we meet in the future. We can talk about that further. Is there any other kind of comment on that on the subject, goals and objectives?
Also, to like go away with the scholarships, like we could do like, maybe if we can get like Lamar or somewhere, or maybe like the Houston Rockets to like not sponsor necessarily, but like if you fill out 10 scholarships and you come show us, then you get like a free basketball ticket or something like that, or maybe like a reward for doing something that could benefit you in the end.
Let me add to it. So that's good feedback. We taking notes on that just because I'm not writing. We are taking notes. I do want to list some of the goals and objectives of what I thought we should be as a youth council. When we went to Dallas, we learned that a lot of groups do a lot of volunteer type programs. And I think one of my goals was for the group is that you guys operate like a youth council, kind of like what y'all doing now when y'all did going through talking about the bird schools. Y'all had different discussions that found out, we want an ID associated with the bird school. That's just one little thing, but everything, whether you're talking about homelessness, whether you want to go to different schools and listen to them and get more feedback so you can get more input. So you present a document, everybody, you've heard from everybody versus just assuming that I heard from everybody when I talked to you guys. So those are the things I want, I thought would be good for you guys as far as operating as a true governmental council. Where you talk about things, you deliberate, you may agree to disagree, but at some point, you guys come together and the majority, you decide what is best for the youth. And I think you guys are doing a great job. Traditionally, we would start this program in September, but you guys started in January, so that was a late start. And it was like you heard, it was a late start, and the bonding time is tough to bond in that time. But I think you guys have done a great job. I think you're kind of getting more comfortable on the dais. That's what this is called. And you're getting better feedback between each other. You're kind of stepping up and speaking on particular things that I think is important. And even when people that are elected come visit, I think you guys have kind of figured out a way to have confidence in those moments. So that's good too. I like the fact that I tried to give you guys vague direction, but not too much direction, because I wanted y'all to figure out what is best for you guys. So I try not to micromanage, but I try to keep you away from doing too much as far as spending money and stuff like that. We have money, but we don't want to spend too much because there are more efficient ways to do the same thing, essentially. So, we started in September. That's when the program will start next year. Our goal was that every position, we still want to link you guys with department heads to kind of give you at least a brief meeting to give you insight on what those positions are like. Hopefully that, if you do stay in the area, there are internships. If we can get more funding, we're looking at scholarship opportunities. But I did want to list my goals and objectives to you guys to let you know. I didn't want everybody to be a voting member because that's not really how life is. And that's really not how a council is. You know, a council is made up of council members, a mayor, you have department heads, you have a city manager, and there are some things that non-voting members have that voting members don't. And so that process takes a while for you guys to understand and learn. It took a long time for me to kind of understand that, but it's it's a part of government, and when you understand it here, you understand it, when you see stuff in the media or different legislative processes. But ultimately, a governmental entity would be a great idea, and I think you guys are moving towards that. I appreciate all the feedback, and so we take notes, and then what we'll do is develop, based on you guys' feedback, our next agenda item. So the next time we meet, we'll discuss things based on different feedback. We'll design our flyers in ways that include different key points, and so I appreciate all your feedback. Anything else you guys have? No, one more.
So since you brought up like the topic of us staying in Beaumont, why don't, since all of us are seniors, most of us are going to go to college, why don't we bring student representatives from Lamar and have them speak to us, and we can also listen to them on what we can help them with,
All right. So I don't explain that a little bit towards.
So you guys want us to stay in Beaumont,
Yeah.
but we don't really know that much about Lamar. And if we represent all of Beaumont, they're still youth. They're just not under 18. Most of them are still young. So we can get their representatives to come and speak to us and see how we can also serve them.
Yeah, perfect. We'll get somebody like Student Government Association, or your administrators or presidents or professors of different colleges. Y'all thinking like that? Something that kind of gives you information your first 2 years. I mean, some of you guys will be graduating with associates, but for others going into your first 2 years, things like that. Is that what y'all referring to? Getting more insight? Okay, we can set that up. That's it on my end.
All right, thank you for that, sir. We're going to move to number 8, voting to approve the next meeting date and time in March. So we've, the schedule that we were given originally had March 9th, I think 4 to 6, back at the original time. That was what the schedule had previously had. If any of us have problems with that, feel free to talk about that. Thoughts on that?
If BU makes it to state, their state game is on that day too.
Hold on, what dates are we referring to?
The 9th.
March the 9th? Okay.
I do think that the 9th is complicated to some students, especially at our school too. We're also hosting an event that day.
What time is that for?
It's after school.
After school to like 7.
Yeah.
Because y'all have spring break that next week. The 13th, right? 13th through the 17th.
Can we move it up?
Like to the 8th?
The 6th? What about Monday?
March 6th.
I'm free on every day except Thursday.
Except Monday?
Except Thursday.
Oh, Thursday, okay. Monday? Oh, who can't do Monday? Monday is March the 6th, from 6 to 8. Do y'all like the 6 to 8 time frame?
No.
Okay, I prefer the 4 to 6. You know, I was thinking that we had something going here, and y'all changed it up, so I just want to.
So, 4 to 6 on the 6th?
No, let everybody say. So who is in favor of 6 to 8 first? Because I heard y'all say y'all were in favor. Somebody said they wanted to be 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, so basically, are y'all okay with 4 p.m.? Is that what y'all are implying? So March the 6th at 4 p.m. But can y'all make it here? I mean, the whole thing is, we'll get to another agenda item. What's the next agenda item?
To have executive session before.
Okay, so let me explain that item, and it'll probably connect with this one. The executive session in most governmental entities or council or county, it's a private meeting. So I want to start setting up a private meeting with you guys, basically like we having right now, but it'll be here. So you basically have to get here either 30 minutes before. Most executive session meetings are held after. So you can have it before. Like you guys can get here 30 minutes before, and then we have a team meeting, and then we start our meeting. So I think because as you move forward in this type of group, you have so many things going on. You'll have funding and things going on that we need to discuss. So a 30 minutes meeting is what we'll typically call an executive session meeting. the city of Beaumont does their executive session at the end of a meeting. So once they conclude the meeting, it's a closed door meeting, and you just kind of talk about a couple things. You'll know what the executive session items are. They're like it's an agenda item, so you know what you're discussing, but it's just more specific to you guys as a group, essentially. Something like the conference would be an executive session item. Like we'll talk about the DC conference, how much it costs, who should go, who shouldn't go, based on that. That would be an executive session item. So we can decide to do that. I would recommend we do that before the meeting starts. So that's basically just getting here. If you can do 30 minutes, that's phenomenal. If you can do 15 minutes, we can do that too, but you would have to start at the 15-minute marker. 30 minutes is enough time to kind of do that. You don't have too much. So can you commit to being here at 3:45?
I have a question about
Yeah.
that. So we would arrive here 30 minutes before and just like close the doors and nobody.
Well, no, it just when you come in here, we'll just ask anybody that's waiting for the meeting, just wait in the lobby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when they do executive sessions and the county does it this way. The county starts their meetings off with an executive session, and then they open it up to the public. The city of Beaumont, we do our meetings, and then at the end of it, it ends the meeting, and then you go into executive session. I don't want to keep you guys here that long. I think if you get here a little bit early and you still get out here earlier, it kind of works best. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, so with me, my school at every day except Wednesday, we finish at 3:15. So I should be able to be here 15 minutes before, but not 30 minutes before.
Okay, so that's Harmony to here. 3:15 to 3:35, 45. You saying 45 is the best for you?
Yeah.
3:45. Okay.
Yeah, but for Wednesdays, I finish at 2:20, so 3:30 would be fine then also.
Oh, okay. So if we did meetings on Wednesday,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, all
And
right.
we can start off with 15
yeah.
minutes. You can discuss. We can have a lot of work done in 15 minutes. It doesn't take that long. You just have to be here, be
Mhm.
seated. Meeting starts 15 minutes.
As
and
long
then-
as you're here, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to be here and be seated, not getting here, pulling in. So you really
Got
need
it.
to be here 17 minutes in advance. Sit down. Took you 2 minutes. So is that something that y'all are okay with doing? Because I think that'll help us kind of build more team synergy. It's more like a coaching time. So I'll speak to you guys in those executive sessions. We may bring in people to come speak to you for about 10 minutes on different topics. But executive sessions are meant for special items like the conference going to Washington, D.C. because it requires a chaperone. It requires liability forms and things like that. So because there's so much more details, that's what you would discuss in an executive session. Now, if you guys want to have people in those meetings, that is totally up to you. Executive sessions are traditionally closed door, which I would prefer you get that kind of experience. It would be like we having this meeting right here without anybody behind me.
So be here by 3:30.
Well, he's saying that he can't do 3:30.
Or should we move the time to 4:30 so everybody can be here at 4? Since if it's 3:30, we won't even have
That's a
to
good
be
idea.
able time to get dressed. It's straight after school.
Yeah, that's why I
Come
want to get
straight
y'all
here.
feedback to know if it's realistic. I mean, you could come.
I can tell you, for me, like I'd much rather have it after, just because like the stress of getting here at 4 right after
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
I think that
It's
would
y'all
work
decision.
easier
Let
for
me
a lot
know.
of us. Would be to have it after, and then like that way we would be free to discuss things for as long as we'd like, as opposed to if we have it before, we'd have to meet
you
the
want to
hard
keep
stop.
it time because y'all still have other commitments.
Yeah, I mean, and if you don't want to stay for executive session after the meeting, then of course you're free to leave. But I think it'd leave more time open for actual like free discussion if we have it after than before. Because if we have it before, then we have to meet the hard stop and start the public meeting. So I think you have more time and then less stress after school getting here if you have it after the meeting.
Okay, I need y'all feedback. Everybody, I need you to say something so I can at least
I-
know that when we decide that it's either 4 or 4:30 or 5, whatever it is, that I got the general consensus. So that's my thoughts. And you just make it quick. It don't have to be a long one.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
go.
was just gonna say I agreed with Sam. I
Okay.
prefer to have it after.
After,
Because it's
okay.
easier to just get here on time for the actual meeting and then be able to stay for our executive meetings.
And you don't have an executive session every meeting. So just so you clear, you can decide to not have. You can have an executive session once a month. But I just kind of want to get y'all the experience of that too, because that's a part of
So
governmental meetings.
can we get like a raise of hands? So before like to start at 4:30? Like who agrees on 4:30?
All in favor of stand with your 4:30? Put your hands up so I can see. So this is to start the meeting at 4:30, and you would have an executive session at 4. So essentially, you're still getting at 4. You. Yeah, I think you should. I think you guys can do a meeting in an hour and a half. Yeah, I mean, right now we're dragging on this item, and then we could be done. I'm just looking at the time right here, but that's what I'm saying. This could be summarized. So I think traditionally y'all meetings shouldn't last past the hour and a half, unless you got like a big forum or a big issue. You know, there are special items. I think traditionally an hour and a half is a good timing. So you still can end at 6 and start at 4, but the executive session will be just your first thing you're talking about. So are y'all okay with that? I mean, you really have the same. You're moving your time back to 4, but you would have the same format. Does that work? That work?
I guess it works. It would be preferable to me if we do it after, but that's just my personal opinion. If everyone else, if it works better before, then I can try to adjust as best as possible.
It's the same time. Could we not, if it's preferred afterwards, is that not something we could just flip around, start our meeting at 4 and end 30 minutes early, and then just do it after, if that's what y'all are wanting?
You can do a hard stop at 5:30 and
Yeah.
still. I mean, it's really up to y'all. I'm letting y'all kind of tell me what. So let's start with this. The time slot doesn't change. You're agreeing. Everybody's agreeing to move it to 4 to 6. Is that correct? We know that meetings shouldn't last past an hour and a half. Are we agreeing on that? That's a good time frame. And if you go longer, sure, go longer. I don't want to limit you guys on what you need to speak about. So the next question is, do you want the executive session at the end or the beginning?
I think it should be at the beginning because, like you said, we dragging on every topic. So we just keep it short, keep it classy.
Okay, and it's like a coaching. This is like a coaching opportunity. Yeah, that's before your meeting starts. So.
But to be more inclusive to those who can't get here as early as the rest of us, after would be preferable.
Yeah, but it would be the same exact time. We just get here at 4. We start the executive meeting 4 to 4:30. Then we just have a meeting from 4:30 to 6.
I think if it's before, we can also clear up some questions we have because we ask a lot of questions about clearing stuff up.
So it's 4 p.m. We're starting at 4 p.m. Is that all in favor? I mean, everybody can raise your hand. This is just a kind of a general consensus. 4 p.m. You start the executive session at 4 p.m. And it's a meeting for you guys. In your mind, think you start the meeting at 4. We having our private meeting, and then we open up the meeting when we finish our executive session. It should never go past 30 minutes, 15 minutes minimum.
Thank you. So, executive session from 4 to 4:30, and then the meeting from 4:30 to 6. Okay, Isaac, to vote.
So all in favor, say aye.
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 We want to clarify that only council members vote.
Yes, only the council members voting. Then, anybody in opposition to that? No? Okay. Then, number 8 will be carried over. No, never mind. That was 9. I'm sorry.
And so, just to be clear, so we're going to be doing this Monday, March 6th. And then so council has to vote on that too, on the 6th.
Okay, and then the meeting March 6th at 4 is fine. Everybody in favor? Say aye.
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 Okay. Anybody in opposition? Okay, well, this agenda item will also be carried over.
Question, once a month, right?
What do you mean once a month? Like
For the executive meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so moving to public comment. If anybody has anything they'd like to say, you have 3 minutes to make a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Now is the time.
Just a quick rule. Can she get a picture with you guys? She can stand in the middle, and then y'all can stand up here. So if y'all two would go up top real quick, and you can come back up and hold.
Are we going to take the picture right now or at the end of the meeting?
Take a picture right now. Yeah. People taking a picture.
All right, so continuing with public comment, if anybody in the audience would like to speak, 3 minutes.
Hey, I just want to say, fantastic job, guys. I really like the fact that you guys are ordaining yourself to really mirror a city council. Have you guys had any experience watching and seeing it for yourself? Attending in on the meeting? I mean, show of hands. But what I'm really impressed about is that you guys are able to understand what the democratic process is. Choosing, selection of time, understanding your roles, your responsibilities. And if there's anything that I can do to assist you guys, then please let me know. But fantastic job. You guys are doing great.
Any further public comment? All right, so we're going to move to council member comment. So if anybody has any, closing remarks they'd like to make before we get out, now is the time.
I just kind of had a question. I think I can speak in this part, but so for the March 6th meeting, since that will be our executive meeting time, is the March group presenting at this meeting, or will we present at the next one?
I assume that, so, like the March 9th meeting was when you guys were supposed to present in the first place?
I believe so.
I would
yes.
count on presenting on the March 6th. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Got it.
Thank you.
She wanted to say something, but she can't speak because she not a councilman. But she wanted to know if you could come speak about your scholarship.
Since you want to know about my scholarship, first question I have for the group is, anybody has any aspirations of being a Beaumont ISD educator?
After many years of being a doctor, maybe.
Say that again for me. I said an elementary teacher, possibly. Oh, okay. And do you know what practice? What study? Math, English.
I guess basics, everything.
I have a question about that. So, would we come back after a certain amount of years or right after college?
Well, whenever I would expect for you to work. So it's usually right after college. You got to ponder on it. You got to.
I have
a
other
few
goals.
more years. Okay.
Like after and then
Okay,
come
so
back.
this would be a good point to carry over to some of the other classmates you guys have. So I have a scholarship, and the way that I choose to present it is going to actually be through Flip, formerly named Flipgrid. Are you any of you guys familiar with that? Familiar. So the scholarship will be for people who have aspirations of becoming a Beaumont ISD educator. Just like you guys you're seeing right now, that you're trying to draw solutions. The nation says that there is a shortage of having educators. So what do? Well, decide, just try to come up with a scholarship that's tailored toward Beaumont Early College, Westbrook, and also Beaumont United for those who are choosing to be an educator. 2-minute presentation of why you want to be an educator. Pretty simple. Just upload it. I have the flyer available. It will be posted in you guys' high schools probably after spring break.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Any questions?
Do you have to be a
you ready to sit me
full-time
down?
educator? Oh,
I said, you ready to sit me down, huh?
If there are any questions, feel free.
Yeah. Do you have to be a full-time educator?
Well, that'll be the whole
For the
intention.
scholarship?
I mean, anybody who's going to school will be looking to be an educator for the duration of pretty much their career. But again, it's for people who want to go through that pathway. So you guys may not see that need, but you may have a peer or someone to the extent that may say, okay, well, I know someone who wants to be a teacher. They have aspirations of doing that, and then what we're trying to do is corral people to come back to Beaumont ISD.
I'm going to school for education, but I don't know if I'm going to be in BISD.
You haven't found a good reason to not come back to Beaumont ISD. What would entice you to come back to Beaumont ISD?
My coach now, my track coach. I feel like she's still gonna be around when I'm out of school, and I see her passion for like teaching and coaching. So that kind of made me. I want to be an educator, but today made me realize like I want to be a coach also.
Okay, and you can definitely achieve that. So who is your coach that's inspiring you?
Her name is Coach Boxigello, Desiree Boxigello.
Okay. I'm not familiar with her, but needless to say, if there's anything I can assist you with that, but then we definitely want to have you. So I'm gonna let you guys know about the influence that you guys have. So my first initiative, this was before I was on the board, when I was 18 years old, same age as you guys, I went into my principal at Westbrook, then was Bill Daniels. I told him, I said, how can you ensure that I come back to Beaumont ISD but come in the capacity of an educator? He ain't have a good answer for me. I said, how about this? When I graduate, you have a contract ready and available for me. He said, let me think about it. He sat me down in his office, started making some phone calls, and then needless to say, there was about 8 students that all received contracts at the time of graduation. And that's an 18-year-old version of me. You guys are a lot smarter than me. You guys got a bigger platform. So I just want to pay it forward for the things that I thought about doing when I was your age and letting you guys know the power that you have today.
I have a question. It's not about becoming an educator, but why do you think that the district has, like, specifically us, why do we have a problem with finding educators for our schools?
Well, it's a nationwide issue. I mean, and it's probably because of the different mediums to make money. As you guys mentioned, Sam, you mentioned in your presentation earlier that trying to find a different industry in a petroleum-based industry, well, a bunch of our educators have choose to take that pathway. Well, we can call it where a starting educator makes $50,000, but if you have an engineering degree, well, you're looking at about $100,000. So for the value of what the education and the return of investment is, it seems like they create other pathways. And so in the state of Texas and around the country, of course, people are choosing to kind of run where the best dollar is, especially our 0 to 5s.
Any other questions, everybody? All right.
Would you consider an athletic trainer an educator?
No, I have to look for something specific, right? I need math educators, social studies, English, the things that are tested, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. We had Black History this week, so your question regarding what do teachers, and I'm Charisma Papillon. I'm an elementary principal here in Beaumont ISD. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. So when you are working at an elementary level, the primary grades, traditionally pre-K through second grade, many times you have those teachers that receive what's called self-contained certifications, and they're able to teach any subject because they usually teach all of their students all subjects. Now, when they get a little older, third, fourth, fifth grade, it depends on the campus. The campus can be what's called departmentalized, where you may have a teacher that teaches maybe math and science, and then the other teacher teaches maybe social studies and reading. So it just really depends. There are some campuses that still self-contain through fifth grade. So it really just depends. But now, SBEC, the State Board of Educator Certification, you can look at the different options that they have. And so you can, sometimes they have elementary mathematics might go 4th through 8th grade. And so you might major in math. So it just really depends. If you want to stick with a certain subject, if you're strong in a certain subject, you could go that route and end up teaching older grades, or you can also go where my certification, I have a few, but the one that I initially graduated and I started teaching with was what's called interdisciplinary studies, and it was grades 1st through 8th grade, and I could teach any subject, but I specialized in reading and math. And then my 8th through 12th grade certification is specifically for ELAR, which is English Language Arts and Reading, as you mentioned, when you get to high school.
How could y'all make a way to make us interested in actually coming back to be an educator for BISD? Because right now we only hear the negatives about BISD. The parents only hear negatives. Kids only hear negatives. What would make me come back to be a BISD educator?
Okay. Well, I think exposure is key, and as Mr. Lewis stated, that it's a nationwide shortage. So I think that it would be important for you guys to maybe come back and mirror. You can do some interning on the campuses. Just if you go to Lamar, when it's time for you to do your internship or your student teaching, you'll be placed on a campus in the district. And so basically exposure, coming to see what we have to offer. BISD has great packages to offer our new teachers. We also, do things to make sure that we get the best of the best. We offer grow your own programs. We offer the opportunity to be an adjunct educator here in the district, and we still support you throughout your process. So BISD, I've been here for 20 years, and it's a great place to work. But basically exposure, and you guys are BISD students for the most part. I think someone might attend Legacy, but at the end of the day, BISD is a great place to be, and I think just the exposure and asking your teachers questions about why it is that they work for BISD, and I guarantee you they'll be able to tell you some great things. Thank you.
All right, thank you all very much for that. If anybody else has any comments they'd like to make before the end of the meeting. All right, everybody, so March 6th at 4 o'clock. We will see y'all there. Y'all have a good night.